Apparently, I now need to be on the lookout for any board game conventions happening in Manchester just so that I could maybe get a sneaky little preview at the Sims board game. Sims community has a full post about this little preview event, so let's check it out because as you know, I have been very, very excited for a Sims board game. I've been thinking about it forever, and I was wondering, is this just gonna work like the game of life? Obviously, The Sims is pretty much the game of life, but in a video game rather than a board game, so it's definitely interesting to see how they're gonna turn The Sims into a board game. From what I've seen, there's things that I really, really like about it, and then there's things that I'm not as excited about. Just beware, there's gonna be spoilers. If you don't want to know about the board game, if you want this to be a full surprise to you, then feel free to click off this video now. I personally will not be offended, but if you are a big old board game nerd like me, you might want to stick around. The Sims Aspirations and Needs are coming to your family game nights. Now this is not super shocking, especially for the aspirations, because I feel like aspirations are such a big part of the game. You know, they are a checklist that you can complete to kind of complete your Sims life. Obviously, that's not like the be all and end all. A lot of people don't even focus on aspirations, but I actually really, really like them. The needs being in there are kind of surprising. I'm assuming this is kind of where I guess the difficulty comes from. It'll be definitely interesting if you maybe can let your Sims hunger go all the way down and therefore they can have like death by hunger. But we have some obviously iconic Sims 4 townies. It is predominantly based on The Sims 4, which I kind of wish that they had meshed them together. I kind of wish that there was maybe like a Sims 1 and then Sims 2 and 3 and then 4, but these are all Sims 4. So you got Bob Pancakes, Agnes Crumplebottom, Bella Goth and Nancy Landgrab, along with the Cowplant, the Freezer Bunny and the Robber on the front. Then you've also got the Grim Reaper over here. 2 to 5 players, ages 12 plus. This is actually being published by Goliath Games. So their team member Sophie was able to attend the event and actually took some pictures. So this is the needs tracker. They're kind of like a double-sided card with like a slider in between, which I think is really cool. It'll be interesting to see how they actually take that off you, because imagine them just being like, I don't know, take half of your needs tracker. I feel like people are gonna have arguments like, you didn't move that enough, you need to take that down lower. That's not half. I didn't even know that this was happening. I so wish that maybe for like UK Simmers they could have like let us know that this was going to be a thing, because I genuinely think people would have traveled down for this and like bought a ticket. But hosted at the NEC with a focus on tabletop games, the event holds tournaments, special appearances and demos of new and upcoming tabletop games. This is Meeple_University on Instagram. Got to demo Sims board game. Very excited to see Sims being demoed. Just like the video game, you need to meet your aspirations by traveling to different places. Oh, they have a full-on video, which we'll check that out as well. And then collect the icon matching cards. And that's the, I think, main way you earn points. As far as we know, board game includes locations throughout The Sims 4, with being a similar design to the maps of Willow Creek, Newcrest, and Magnolia Promenade. Why they chose Magnolia Promenade above all things, I will never know. I absolutely hate that world. I guess because they like kind of maybe have like shops in it. That's an odd choice. But these are the locations that were seen in Stella's video. So you have Foxbury Institute, which is obviously part of Britechester, Llama Lagoon, which is a neighborhood in Newcrest, Pectoral Fitness, Del Sol Valley's Gym, Blue Velvet, Willow Creek Nightclub, Futures Past Museum, Oasis Springs, Thrifty, which is obviously part of Copperdale, Umbridge Manor, one of the pre-made residential lots in Willow Creek. Player gets a need tracker card and a secondary card with a lot on it, possibly where the player lives, a spot for current or completed aspiration cards, and a spot labeled as action cards. This sounds so confusing. I'm sure once I get my hands on it, I'll obviously be able to understand it better. It doesn't seem like it has quite so many parts to it as the Stardew Valley board game. While the video doesn't show the action card spot in use, it does show cards with a list of actions and results, with the results depending on whether the player decides to go out or go home. Their goals were to travel to any venue, lower need, play card, befriend iconic Sims, mingle with one player at your venue, score, go home, raise 2 needs, draw 1 aspiration, discard 1, and then score. A plumb bob shaped piece is also visible in multiple shots, though its usage is not described. I was kind of hoping that the play pieces would be the iconic Sims. I was really hoping that like Nancy Landgrab, Eliza Pancakes, Bella Goth, Agnes Crumplebottom, etc. Or maybe even just like a Freezer Bunny, a cow plant, you know, like those llamas, like iconic symbolism of The Sims 4 would be used as the pieces, but it looks like these little plastic pieces with like a different color underneath them are the actual like, hey, this is your character, which makes sense because, you know, when you're playing your sim, you do always have the plumb bob above your head. So I understand the logic, but I do think it would have been really cool just to get kind of like castings and like minifigs of iconic Sims characters. Personally, as a Sims fan, I feel like I would have preferred that, but it makes sense it being a plumb bob considering you as the player are the one who's controlling it. We have a Bonehilda card up here and a Morgan Ember. These are obviously the iconic Sims that you can meet. Iconic Sims move. Oh, I thought that said movie. I was like, is that a hint? But it's iconic Sims move. Because players have to take care of their own needs, each card lists consequences from whether they go out or go home, usually lowering or raising needs, playing a card, befriending Sims, drawing aspirations, and more. They're gonna have a whole ass video telling us how much or how little we should move our needs. Card labels iconic Sims move are also shown, indicative of actions or objects found in the game. Also include symbols that we see for different traits, actions, or needs in the game, as well as a description of the action. Void Critter game card has symbols of gear, shirt, and jester's hat. Photo on the card is of a child playing with the Void Critter battle station. How sick would it be now that they're kind of foraying into board games if they actually turned like Void Critters into actual cards? I've always said that I would absolutely love that. The tarot deck as well, I think they should have made like a full-on tarot deck as merchandise. I just think that's the kind of thing that they could do to take stuff out of the game and actually make it physical IRL that I know Simmers would absolutely love to earn. Will you retrieve a Void Critter victory or a humbling loss at the bottom of the card? I guess you roll for that, maybe? Kind of like a skill check in D&D, perhaps. The other cards visible seemingly represent iconic pre-made Sims from The Sims 4 that you can befriend with what looks to be a short description or goal. While it isn't mentioned or shown in usage, we also get a glimpse of the plumb bob-shaped dice advertised in Goliath Games' original listing. Whilst we can't see all sides of the dice, one is visible with an open hand with 5 fingers up. So I'm assuming that would be like a D8 if there's 4 on each side. This is kind of the information published by Goliath. New consumer product for the first time, highly anticipated Sims board game, create your character, which I don't know if there's really going to be a way to do that. I guess maybe picking your aspiration, but I fear that the aspiration is going to be like a randomized thing. Build relationships, meet iconic Sims, and complete your aspirations. Features unique components fans will love, like plumb bob shaped dice and need slider. Here we can see Bonehilda, Bob Pancakes, Bella Goth. We also have Penny Pizzazz, the one and only. These are the aspirations. So you have, I think this is Beach Life from Island Living. Then we look like we have the cooking one over here. I'm not too sure what this one is. I can't really make it out. It's a little bit blurry. And then this looks like academic. So bookworm and the brain symbol. I can't remember what that is for. But that says ×3. This says ×3. Maybe they all say ×3. Again, this is a player piece. So this is kind of like a purple one. Probably showing like maybe which location they're in. This is Slip 42. I think this is Strangeville. There's also an image for the loner trait up in this corner. That's saying that your like social decreases perhaps like when you're on this lot. I'm not too sure, but on your turn you can either choose to go out, so therefore you have to travel to the venue, then you lower your need. I'm guessing it's just like any need maybe, or maybe your energy one, and then play a card. Then you befriend a iconic sim. So I'm assuming once you've befriended someone, you actually like get to keep their player card maybe, and then mingle with one other player at your venue. Does that mean you have to hang around and wait for a player to actually like also appear there? Because they could royally screw you over just by never visiting that venue, or choose to go home. So you raise 2 needs, draw 1 aspiration, and then discard another aspiration, maybe. So this is kind of like a reset when you go home. Ooh, you have Purveyor of Potions, which is Realm of Magic. You got a little cooking skill icon, and then also like a little moodlet solver. Purveyor of Potion, this sim wants to know, I'm sure that's just like the description that's probably in the game. Umbridge Manor, which has kind of like the business logo next to it. I can't see that being like your job or anything like that. Iconic Sims move, that's the Void Critter one. Iconic Sims move, it looks like base game trainers. I can't read what this says at all. I'm again wondering if that's maybe just like the description. Oh no, will you achieve a Void Critter victory or horrible loss? They're so difficult to read. You got the Wishing Well. This looks like it's going to be difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I do like the size of these cards. They're kind of a little bit iconic. We have one of the romance novels, a violin, home cards. So this is kind of like your playmat, I guess. Like these are the things that you can swap in or out. It'd be interesting to see how you actually complete the aspirations, because you also have like the action cards as well. So I'm wondering if the action cards maybe need to tie into what your aspiration kind of needs based off the little symbols that are perhaps up here. But then there's not really any focus on the icons like on your action cards. So how are you meant to know what they sync up to? Let's also check out this video though.
Everyone, so excited. The first time I see this at UKGE. I'm actually playing it right now. This is so much like the video game, so cool. The Sims, the board game, everyone.
Yeah, this doesn't really give you much information other than there's like a hexagon. I feel this is kind of a map of like how the worlds join up with each other though. Like this looks like the shipwreck in Sulani backing onto potentially like Newcrest, and then Newcrest maybe backs on to Magnolia Promenade. Then across the way you have like Bargain Bend, so you have like Willow Creek across the river. Then this looks like the university. This might be giving some Sims 4 lore away of kind of how they actually do connect the worlds to each other. Ah, okay. So I think where you actually head to, this tells you the need that you need to reduce. So if you go to the Futures Past Museum, you lose your social. If you go to Pectoral Fitness, you lose your hygiene. If you go to Thrifty, you lose hunger, which kind of doesn't make sense because like I'm fairly sure you can also get food at Thrifty as well, but maybe they're saying, you know, like you go shopping and therefore you lose your hunger. If you go to the Blue Velvet, obviously you're out clubbing, so therefore you're gonna lose some sleep. It actually helps towards romance, jokes, like comedy skill, and also mischief. This helps with logic maybe, and then I don't know what this would be, clothes, and then simoleons. This helps towards like homey like moods, I don't know, and furniture, loner, cooking, and something else. It's definitely difficult to realize like especially when you're seeing it just in pieces like this, how these pieces actually connect with one another, but every single one of these affects a different need. But then I'm also assuming they help you to grow closer to your aspiration, so it's kind of luck of the draw of where you choose to go to help your aspiration. That's what I'm thinking. All in all, I am still very much excited for this. It does have some really cool pieces. I personally do not mind at all that they decided to focus on like aspirations and completing aspirations to be part of like your challenge. Maybe you have to complete like 3 aspirations to win the game. I think that is loyal to the game itself. It seems nothing like Game of Life, so I do apologize for those of you who maybe were expecting more of a Game of Life situation and maybe would have preferred that, but I am still very excited to get my hands on this. Obviously, we know that it is coming out in July, so now really only have like a month to wait for it, even if it could potentially be like the end of July. I genuinely can't wait. I'm still buzzing for this. This hasn't taken away my excitement at all. I am obviously definitely interested to see how it all integrates with one another and how all those pieces kind of interact, but I would love to know what you lot think. I am disappointed that we don't get to play as iconic townies. I just think that would be so much cooler. Or if like Meet the Sims, they had made like little characters for them, but that would have been a lot of game pieces. Even if they were made like out of cardboard, I do feel like they could have added some more cool art. Obviously, it's very heavily taken from The Sims 4. Like I said, it's only really focused on The Sims 4, which I wish with it being called The Sims, it kind of encapsulated everything, but this does also go towards a theory that I had that I assumed would be happening if and whenever we got a Sims 5 announcement, that it wouldn't actually be called The Sims 5, it would just be called The Sims, and that's how they would like bring on the longevity, kind of like how Skate has dropped like Skate 4 and it's just like now known as Skate, because they said they wanted that game to like have longevity and like last, and it just felt like that was the best way to do it. I now feel like they are just gonna drop the 4 from The Sims at some point. There has been talks about this happening, rumors about this happening in another rebrand that could potentially be coming, and I genuinely wouldn't be shocked. I think it's confusing, but I think that's why they've done so many rebrands, because they kind of want it to now just be referred to as The Sims. And I think that also is to stop this kind of like expectation that The Sims 5 is still happening, which pains me to say, because I've been noticing so many bugs, glitches, issues. My game's been crashing a fair amount, like way more so than it's crashed in the past since I got my hands on businesses and hobbies. Obviously, we also still have the save eating bug that is going around for some players, which seems to be caused by for rent and like the number of items that you have on certain lots and stuff. So this is scary territory for the fact that we don't know when the Sims 4 lifespan is going to end, and we are already 10 years, 11 years deep into this game, and there are so many like glaring issues with it. It's just like, how long can they actually sustain it without the game basically falling in on itself when it didn't really have the strongest foundations to begin with? But that's probably another topic for another day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know if you're still excited, if you're maybe a little disappointed from what we have seen. I definitely think they could have made a cooler like art style and art decision with it. Like, it seems pretty cookie cutter, and I think I'm still interested in the actual game and like playing it, but I'm not so interested in the way that it looks. It honestly feels a little bit cheap to me, like with doing it all through cards and not really having many like play pieces or anything. But that's just my personal opinion. I appreciate you all so much, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.